Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is a show that is everything Broncos, but other sports topics related, good or bad. I am your host, Bronco Bill. My co-host is, as always, on the Bronco Breakdown for the Denver Broncos season is Jeremy Case. He is the host of play-by-play for the Denver Broncos and for the Colorado Avalanche. Jeremy, welcome back.
Welcome back, Bill. And don't forget our brand new podcast, the Cluster Puck. It's coming up soon here, right as soon as the Colorado Avalanche season starts. But yeah, I'm doing good. Let's go through it and break it all down.
Okay, Jeremy, before we get into Bronco stuff and other NFL news, please bring us the greatest news the Colorado Avalanche have since winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, today, the big news out of the Colorado Avalanche camp, Nathan MacKinnon signed I think it's a 7-year extension.
8 years.
8 years extension for $100 million overall, $12.6 million AAV. The good news about this contract signing, Bill, is that the contract is the way it breaks down each year. All the money is mainly front loaded in signing bonus money. So it's $85 million total overall over the next 8 years in signing bonus money. The average salary he's making is anywhere from $775,000 to $900,000 in actual salary that Nathan MacKinnon is making. So, it's a great deal for the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, it's really great when you look at it in the aspect that it is front loaded in signing bonus money. That way it frees up a lot more cap space than it would had it been more backloaded on the salary and less on the signing bonus. So great deal. I mean, Joe Sakic spoke this morning on Altitude Sports Radio and said that it was very close to getting done. And by the end, basically, of the Avalanche charity golf tournament on the 18th green, it got signed and done. So great deal for the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, it's going to be nice to have for the next almost decade. You're going to have MacKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen for the next basically 10 years. It's all locked up. It's all ready to go. Now, I guess the big question is what happens to Cale Makar, because his deal is going to come up before that decade is over. And, he's fixing to be pretty much the greatest defenseman in hockey since Bobby Orr. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what goes down, but yeah, great day for the Colorado Avalanche. We knew this was coming. It wasn't if it was going to get done, it was when it was going to get done and how much it was going to get done for was really the question. So it's great. It's great to have Nathan MacKinnon. He's one of the best hockey players in the world. Granted, he didn't have such a great Stanley Cup, Stanley Cup finals. He was kind of absent from that, but during the regular season, there's no doubt in anybody's, and there should be no doubt in any Colorado Avalanche's fans' mind that Nathan MacKinnon is a asset to this team and a much needed asset to have throughout the regular season.
Absolutely. And not only that, but Nathan MacKinnon said himself that he always has admired players that stay their entire career with one team. And he said that one team for him has always been the Colorado Avalanche. So he said that this was a fantastic day. He knows he's going to retire as a Colorado Avalanche. And that speaks volumes because he is the leader. He's a heart and soul, along with other pieces. I realize that. But yeah, he is the mainstay. I mean, this guy is solid. And everybody else, he made mention today in that signing that players that come to Colorado get better because of the team that the Avalanche are.
Yeah,
the core players that we have, and to have Nathan MacKinnon back as the key core player, 100% love it.
Yeah, and quite frankly, Bill, it's something you really don't see a lot of in modern day sports across any of the four major leagues. Really, you don't see a lot of players really spending their whole careers with just one team anymore. That's kind of a lost art. It was kind of an 80s and it was kind of like a 70s, 80s, and 90s thing, and then towards the tail end of the 90s, it kind of just faded out as with the invention of free agency across these leagues. So it's amazing to see that in modern day and in a salary cap era for the NHL as well. I mean, a lot of the reason why, Pierre Lacroix was able to keep that solid core together of Sakic, Forsberg, all of them was because there was no salary cap. So you could just throw any amount of money at you that you wanted at them. And they would, it was kind of where, how deep are your pockets type thing. It wasn't necessarily, are you up against the cap? So amazing stuff Joe Sakic and company are doing for the Colorado Avalanche, and I can't wait to get to calling some hockey this season. It's going to be great, and we're gonna bring it all to you on the MHRT network. So it'll be me, Bronco Bill. I mean, we're gonna be partnered up for a lot of this fall and into the next spring, my friends. So we're gonna be bringing it.
Fasten
to you
your
guys.
seatbelts and get ready because it's
absolutely because we'll be doing it 3 days a week. So yeah,
and then and Broncos. So there we go.
Well, Avalanche and Broncos three times a week. So yeah, 2 of them are guaranteed. 1 Broncos, 1 Avalanche. So
right, gonna be fun. All right, let's slide into Denver Broncos. Get their very first win. And it was ugly, Jeremy. It was ugly. I mean, we had the same mistakes over and over. 13 penalties this time, 12 in game 1. 25 penalties leads the league hands down for a team. I mean, I think the next closest one is what, 14 or something over 2 games? This pretty substantial gap to stop. And I understand we have a first-year head coach. I get that. First-year head coach, first head coordinator, first head defensive coordinator, first head quarterbacks coach, all the way
first
down.
Year everything.
First year everything. And I heard today on a numerous different shows, because this is going nationwide, man. This is not just Colorado.
Oh yeah,
nationwide. And I heard on no pun intended, but I heard on the herd that he feels that maybe Nathaniel Hackett is over his head and he should release some of his duties. I heard Hackett say he's going to continue to call the plays. I'm not sure that is the right thing to do. What do you think?
I don't think it might not necessarily be just calling the plays. I think maybe some things Nathaniel Hackett needs to surrender, like clock management. Let Russell Wilson do that. I think it's all the things combined that are overwhelming him so much as not as much as it is just like the play calling or the clock management or that individually. I think it's all of it, and I think it's all too much for him. I do think he needs to delegate some of that stuff because it just seems like there's a lot of discombobulation, a lot of confusion on the field. There's no rhythm. The offense just looks completely uncoordinated for the second week in a row, and it looked like it only got worse, in this game. And so there's definitely a lot of confusion, and I think it is overwhelming for Nathaniel Hackett because, this is the first time he's ever done this, and typically, as Colin Cowherd mentioned too, you see a lot of coordinators that have just been that way for a long time. They come into being head coaches, and it does get overwhelming for them because they're only focused on one aspect, and that's either the offense or the defense, depending on which side of the football they come from. So yeah, you probably might want to delegate little small things like clock management that tend to get you in trouble and get you some of those penalties to Russell Wilson because he's been in the league 10 years. He's an 11th year quarterback, so he's got some veteranship to him and he knows all of that. So yeah, I would delegate those duties. I don't see no issue with that, and I think it could help this team going forward because I don't know about you, Bill, but if I continue to see this continue on until the bye week, then something has to be done. You can't just
do we fire him?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. It's like you could do that, or but I don't think necessarily maybe George Payton wants to do that. I don't know. I'm not in his head. I'm not in the room. I'm not there. I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate or assume because that's just I don't know. That's not what I do particularly. So I maybe I would, if it were me, I'd probably have a conversation of, okay, something needs to change here. What can we do? What aspects are you good at, and work on seeing how you could delegate the other aspects, because it's not like Nathaniel Hackett is a terrible head coach. We haven't really seen his full potential yet. So it's
I'm
really
not sure we're going to at this rate.
Well, at this rate, no, obviously, which is why something would need to change. That's why I'm like, I just kind of laugh at all the Broncos fans who are like, he's not a good head coach. It's like, well, how do you know that? You don't necessarily know that. Just like how, San Francisco 49ers fans don't necessarily know that Trey Lance can put up the same production as Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know. because we haven't
We're not going to
we,
find out the rest of the year either. It
yeah,
can be done.
we haven't had a big enough sample size. We've only had 2 games of a sample size with Nathaniel Hackett. So
Yeah, but it seems to be a pattern, though. It really seems to be a pattern. And I guess I wouldn't have so much of an issue necessarily. But when you go into a press conference after game 1 and you tell all the fans in your press conference, we've got it fixed. We've got it figured out. We've got it fixed. We've eliminated the problems. And then you go out in game 2 and not only repeat it, but increase it. How do you have – okay, oh, yeah, and I've got one comment on that too. Something is not right with his game management because when they went for the field goal to tie the game up 9-6, and it was a delay of game after McManus made it, they went back 5 yards, and he punts it
and put it into punting territory too. Yeah,
I'm like,
there's got to.
What are you doing?
I think there's got to be an agreement that comes to agreement with. There's got to be an agreement between Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett of, okay, if the offense is not out on the field by a certain time, or I haven't heard a play come into my helmet at a certain time, I'm just going to call what I ever feel is best. I feel like Russell Wilson has the veteranship enough to pull that off. I don't think Russell Wilson is so, novice to the point to where if he doesn't have the playbook, he's screwed. You know what I mean? I think that should be an agreement, because it's like it's not even the fact that they're not getting the playoff in time. It's that the offense is slow to even get out into a huddle. Mm-hmm. And that's what eats up half the time, because they're sitting there on the sideline. I don't know what needs to happen, but definitely a ton of things need to be corrected. That is for sure. But yeah, I feel like that would be probably a good general purpose rule is if I haven't heard a play come into my helmet by a certain time, I'm just calling a play and we're getting up there and we're going. Either that or run a hurry up offense. There's a multiple number of ways you can attack this, but ultimately that's going to be, I think that's going to be have to have a conversation that's going to have to be had by George Payton, Nathaniel Hackett, and Russell Wilson, and probably the rest of the offense too. They might have to call an all offensive meeting just to get on the page with certain rules. So because it's not just one guy or another that looks lost. It's the whole entire group that kind of looks lost out there as to what's going on. And that's never a good sign.
And here's something else to think about too. The ownership group that came in with Walton Penner ownership group, they don't have any ties to this issue. They became owners after Peyton and after Peyton hired Hackett. So if they want, they can just go, see ya Hackett. We're getting our own guy.
They really could. But honestly, because it's kind of a domino effect, right? So as somebody who's had a cup of coffee of playing the game, I do know this is that if you don't get out there and if you don't get out there in time and feel relaxed against a play clock, it all dominoes and it all rolls downhill. You don't know what's going on. Then you get out there, you're hurried, you're trying to get up to the line, you're trying to remember your blocking assignment or your route assignment or your running assignment, and you get confused because you're all in a hurry. You're running up against the play clock. You're trying to let people know what's the play clock. And then for Russell Wilson, it's even more complicated than that, because he's got to hear the play. If he doesn't hear the play, he's got to get the play. When the play comes, then he's got to say it to everybody, break the huddle. Then he's got to read the defense, survey the field, make his checkdowns, make his audibles if he needs to, and then snap the ball. There's zeros. So, there's a disruptance in the flow of an offense there. So that's the biggest part is it's not even the fact that, the guys are jumping off sides or anything. It's the fact that, the fans have to scream the play clock to the players when there's, 4 or 5 of them in big screens across the stadium. And and not only that, and then no wonder why these plays go off and they're incomplete, or somebody's missing an assignment, or Russell Wilson's, throwing it wide to the sideline and the receiver kind of stutters and it goes completely wide of him. it messes up the whole continuity of the offense.
Mhm.
And so that's got to get. I think this is a baby step problem. And so first issue to fix for the Broncos would be to get everybody on the field in a timely manner, break the huddle, and just make a rule that, hey, if I don't hear a play in my helmet by the time that clock hits X, whatever time they agree on, I'm just calling a play and I'm running it.
Mhm.
And then we can try again. Because I've noticed something, Bill, too. These disturbances seem to happen at the beginning of drives, when they first come out at the beginning of drives, and it disrupts the whole entire drive.
Yep.
So it's baby steps here. I think that's what the Broncos really need to work on more than anything. I mean, there's obviously more issues than that, but I think it starts there.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett is second guessing himself. Ever since game one, he totally second guessed himself in this game. We had 4th and less than a foot. Yeah. And he pitches out. He has Russell. He called a play for Russell Wilson to fake the handoff and pitch out to Beck, who was already 3 yards or 4 yards behind the line, and he didn't get back. What? Why not a quarterback sneak? Yeah. This is what's really frustrating me the most, Jeremy. I'll just tell you something right now. This is what's really bothering me. Russell Wilson wanted out of Seattle because his football hands were tied behind his back.
Yeah.
He has now had that twice in first 2 games with Denver. If this continues, Russell Wilson is not going to be happy being here. And that bothers me greatly.
Well, you can see he's starting to get flustered already, and we're only 2 games in. And not only that,
that's my point.
It's like you got a guy in Javonte Williams who was averaging 7 yards a carry. Line it up in an I formation, just give it to him. He couldn't get 1 yard. He's averaging 7 yards.
Foot.
I know he was averaging 7 yards a carry. So why not even do that? Yeah, it's
inexcusable.
It is unexcusable, but yeah, you could see that they're kind of butting heads, but doing it in a very professional manner. You can tell. I can see
which means they're hiding a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, but as it should be though, because you don't.
Then you're gonna.
I don't think they're holding it in. I just think it's being handled behind closed doors, as it should be. Because, quite honestly, Bill, if I want to be completely blunt, it's none of our business. It's none of our business because we are just the fans and we just watch the game. We live in an age where everybody feels like they need to know everything. No, you don't. You really don't.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what I want to know is I want to know what the product's going to be on the field, because you're talking $200 plus a seat of a stadium that holds 76,400 and something.
Right, and you're talking about a massive contract that you just paid Russell Wilson and gave up a lot of future assets and draft capital for. Absolutely, yeah. You what do they say? You sold the barn, or you sold the farm for the goods. Is what you did. You sold the farm for the money. Mm-hmm. You know, you sold off Noah Fant, Shelby Harris. You said goodbye to all those guys.
Drew Lock. That was a good move.
Yeah. In exchange for Russell Wilson. So yeah,
and 3 draft choices.
That's why I honestly think, Bill, if it's coming down to a point where Russell Wilson's getting frustrated and it just can't be resolved, or
they're just going to cut ties with Hackett.
They are. It's going to be Hackett that's going to go. There's no way Russell Wilson's going.
So no, Russell Wilson's not going anywhere.
No.
I also heard, not on the herd, but I heard on a different show. I think it was Rich Eisen. Anyways, he said that if Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have at least a 500 record going to the bye, he's probably gone. Because we got the Raiders in week 5, we got the Chargers in week 7. We still got the Chiefs. We got to play them twice. So if you don't have a 50-50 record, or 500 record, I should say, at the All-Star baseball,
at the bye week,
at the bye week, he could be gone. Think about it.
I don't think anything's off the table, honestly. But at the same, I kind of agree with that, because in order to compete in this very, very tough AFC West division, you're going to have your offense running optimally by the bye week. It should be up to tempo, up to speed. There should be no issues by the bye week. Yeah, I think that's a good deadline. I agree with that. The deadline is the bye week, but I don't know if that's a firing or not, because my question then becomes to you is who is your replacement? An interim head coach?
Yeah,
Those don't
the offensive coordinator.
those typically don't go well statistically.
It doesn't matter
They
if you're
don't.
500, and let's say the Chiefs have only lost 2, and the Chargers only lost 3, and the Raiders, well, we don't care because they're 0-2 now, anyways. But
Right.
you see what I'm saying? So we're not going to catch them. We're not going to make the playoffs. And I understand we're burning a lot. We're burning another year off of these veterans that are young. I get that, but if the offensive coordinator, I can't remember his name offhand, I'm sorry. But the offensive coordinator then becomes head coach and he does well. And let's say he is above 500. Now you're like, okay, well, let's see who's out there. And
Well,
maybe, but I don't want to throw in the towel too quickly on Hackett.
yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is if every week is going to get worse in clock management, in play calling, and all that, I would dare say not even just George Payton, but Greg Penner, the CEO, needs to call an emergency meeting and say, okay, here's a situation. You need to relinquish your play calling to the offensive coordinator. You need to focus on being head coach. You need to make sure that everybody else is doing their job and you just let the other guys do it. That's why we have them.
Right. Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't agree with the whole firing thing. I think arrangements will start being made for the end of the season because if we have to remember as Broncos fans too, even when it got really bad with Vic Fangio and really got really bad with Vance Joseph, I know John Elway is not the general manager, but the general manager let them at least play out the season and then canned them. I think it does the Broncos no good to can Nathaniel Hackett right in the middle of the season just because of the fact of if the season is lost already by the bye week, this AFC West is so tough. You're not catching anybody. So,
No.
I mean, let him play out what he has to play out and see if there's any small strides. The key thing is to see if there's anything that you can work on and that's fixable. And if it's not fixable, then you need to move on. But I think if things haven't changed by the bye week, I think thoughts and arrangements will start to be on the table to start to be made. Because there's just no excuse for you get what do we got in a bye week? Week 9 is our bye week.
I think it's 9, yeah. So we could be 4-4.
So you played 8 games and nothing's changed. That's no longer a mistake. That's a pattern.
That's my exact point.
Yeah. So something would, I think so. I don't think necessarily he'll get canned, but I think there'll be thoughts of making arrangements for the off season.
You know what's interesting, Jeremy? We've talked about this for 13 minutes of the show, and not one time did we say the Broncos won the game. Yeah. I mean, that's how frustrating this is. But the Broncos did win the game. Yeah, thank goodness to a beautiful pass to Schobert. But, I mean, that's how this game went. Yeah. I mean, and just by what we said, if I hadn't mentioned that the Broncos had won, everybody would have said, dang, we're 0-2? No, we're 1-1, but that's how ugly it looked. And now we'll get into who we play next Sunday night, prime time. But I mean,
it's hard to believe the Broncos won only putting up 16 points.
Well, I'll tell you what, they put up 16 in game 1 too. So I'm not liking these 16 points. And what's crazy is
we're not gonna get victories over the Chiefs and the Chargers putting up 16 points a game. We're gonna get waxed.
We had Drew Lock, and I remember watching last year. People are saying, okay, the magic number is 20 or 21 because when the Broncos get 20 or 21 under Lock, we win because of our defense. Well, I think Lock was getting 17 or 18 a game. This is worse. Yeah. And it's just, I know I could, keep beating this drum, but man. And I know it's early, guys. I'm not trying to be a naysayer, but facts are facts. You have to deal with what's in front of you. And that's what we're presented with.
And I know a couple of other people have addressed the booing, and there are a lot of people who don't like and don't appreciate the booing. But, at the same time, fans, just like the Walton and Penner ownership group, fans invest their money too, and I feel like they're allowed to voice their displeasure. I feel like they have that right. they're not doing anything that's affecting the game. They're not running on the field. They're not, they're not taking things too far. I think booing is an appropriate response, really, because you invest your money too. I mean, geez, how much is those game tickets? Like $175 for a nosebleed seat, and then you're talking about $80 for parking, and who knows how much money that's just to get into the stadium, and how much money you're spending on concessions and jerseys and all this stuff. And yes, I understand it's a choice. It's not a requirement. Nobody's holding a gun to your head saying you have to buy stuff for the Broncos. But at the same time, when you spend your whole entire Sunday there, and you adjust your whole entire financial situation around going to see the Broncos for the season or for just a game, you expect some production, especially with the big time names. It's like having a movie with a good star-studded cast, and then and then you spend your money to go see it, and it's not good. That's what this is like, and you're just like, I expected better out of this. And that's what I feel like it's not a completely inappropriate response for the Broncos fans to boo. Well, there's no harm in it. They're just voicing their opinion.
One of the reasons I think that fans boo, I don't personally, I really don't, because that's just me. But I get discouraged. I get down. I get frustrated. I think a lot of the reason being is this, the hype that went into this upcoming season, I think has overshadowed.
Just that game. All the hype that went into this past Sunday. Have you seen all the extra footage of like how Russell Wilson's running out on the field, fireworks are going off, like just the game, everybody was all pumped up.
I think the hype was too great.
Yeah.
For what this team is right now. And that's where the frustration comes in, because if we're all drinking that orange Kool-Aid and we're all believing what George Payton's done,
we were chugging it. We were chugging it this offseason. We were fire hosing it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're all consuming it like we can't wait for game one.
Oh yeah.
And then we lose. And then we can't wait for a home opener because we got Russell Wilson at home, and we barely squeezed by that one
against a very weak Texans team that we were clearly better on paper. Yeah.
Well, we were better on paper for Seattle too.
Yeah, it's frustrating to have that happen 2 games in a row. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I would boo, but I'm not as upset about the booing as other people seem to be. A lot of people seem to be really upset about that, but it's like, as long as they're not, here's my general rule of life. As long as you're not harming anybody, I don't care what you do. You have every right to do what you do as long as you're not hurting anybody. Right. So I don't think it's hurting anybody. I mean, it's no different than if I go and do a bad job at my job, my boss is going to let me know that I did a bad job. Yeah. And yes, I get it that the coaches are screaming them out on the sideline, and there's already enough of that going on. But hey, that's why you play professional football. You understand that comes with the territory. You understand that you're going to be in front of 75,000 people every Sunday or Monday or Thursday or whatever day you play on. That's just the expectation. That's just the territory, and that's what comes with it.
Here's the deal. They love the cheers. They love we love that. So if you're gonna like that side of the coin, you have to like the other side coin when it doesn't measure up. Jeremy, I know we got to move on.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, you're good. We're fine. So let's touch on. I'd like to touch on this one. I want to get your reaction on this. I'm not sure what to do. Not me personally, but what the NFL should do, or how the officials should even handle this. I'm talking about the Tampa Bay New Orleans fiasco fight. Apparently, something was said to Tom Brady. He responded, and then you got Evans just storming off the bench and just decking the New Orleans defender. And then all hell breaks loose, and everybody comes off the bench. And I thought people were going to come off the stands. To tell you the truth, I mean, it was crazy.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just Mike Evans defending his quarterback. I mean, why? If I'm Mike Evans, why wouldn't I defend Tom Brady? Sure. He's made Mike Evans a better receiver than he probably ever would have had Jameis Winston stayed in Tampa Bay. He's made Mike Evans a household name. So I completely understand why Mike Evans did it. Do I agree with it? Not.
Well, we don't know what was said. See, that's the thing. We don't know what was said to Brady. We don't know what Brady said back.
Well,
because it looked like that defender was going closing in on Brady.
I could imagine it had something to the effect of "we own you" because the Saints were a thorn in Tom Brady's side the whole entire time he's been in the NFC South. So I think it's probably something like that. And Tom Brady took exception to it because he's a competitor, and that's what competitors do. I don't think it was mainly something. I don't know. It could have been something personal because, I guess rumor has it that if Tom Brady has a less than any successful season, his marriage is over somehow. Some people have that thought in their head, but maybe it might have had to do something with that. I don't know, but it happened. It is what it is. I mean, it just happens. It's a physical game. It's no different than in hockey when guys decide to drop the gloves and go. It's a contact sport, high energy, high testosterone, high emotions, everything's heightened. So yeah, stuff like that happens.
True. Yeah. I did hear though that Evans got suspended one game, and the other guy, I forget who he is on New Orleans, but they both got suspended for a game.
Yep, because specifically the New Orleans Saints defender, he has a history of being a problem causer, starter.
Then he should actually get more, but that's up to the league.
I mean,
this game. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it was just a lot of pushing and shoving. Yeah. It wasn't like
you're not going to hit somebody inside the head when they got a helmet on,
right? It's not like somebody got their neck broken or their season ended or anything like that. So I don't know. I think a game's appropriate. I mean, I just honestly, I rather feel like than just a game, they should just hit them where it hurts in their wallet and just find them a bunch of money.
Yeah, true. This game, oh my goodness, 20-0 at halftime. Cardinals trailed the Raiders in Vegas, and they go to overtime, and then a fumble in overtime by the Raiders, picked up by a Cardinals defender, runs it in for the winning touchdown. Raiders are 0-2.
Well,
see that smile? I love it.
Hunter rode twice. First one was recovered, then 2 plays later, he fumbled again, and that's what.
Oh, I didn't know about the first one.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow fumbled it twice on the same drive. Wow. So, yeah, that's what led to that. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna give. I know people are probably gonna not like me for this, but I'm gonna pin that victory on the back of Kyler Murray and the fact that, like somebody said on Twitter, he's probably one of the greatest schoolyard football players of all time. He knows how to extend a play.
Speaking of extending, did you see that 2-point conversion?
Yeah. Yeah, the one before the final one where he backed up all the way near to midfield and came all the way back around and ran it in.
That's what I'm talking about. That is crazy. He went all the way back to the 50-yard line.
It really speaks volumes when the quarterback can out-stamina the defensive line and the whole entire secondary.
And he's not that tall. It's not that tall, so it's not like he can see over
But he's quick. He's quick, and that's what made the difference there. I think that this is a victory on the back of Kyler Murray so much as it is the victory on the back of the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm going to say Kyler Murray with the help of the defense, because the defense came up with like 3 really huge plays that really turned the tide for the Cardinals. And then obviously Kyler Murray's ability to extend plays and then make plays himself was really the key to that victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It couldn't happen to a better coach in Las Vegas than Josh McDaniels. it's just uncanny, isn't it? It's just hey, what comes around goes around, buddy.
I just don't think that Josh McDaniels is a great head coach. He's just not. It's just there are some coaches who it's made for, and then there are some coordinators who it's not made for. And I think Josh McDaniels is a better coordinator than he is a head coach.
Yeah. And that can be said for a lot of coordinators, and I'm not going to bring it back up.
we might even be saying that about Nathaniel Hackett. Who knows? So
I wasn't going there, but since you did,
I don't want to admit that he's not a good head coach, but if it's not in the cards, it's on the cards.
hopefully he can. Well, speaking of Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully he can be another. Hang on, guys. Quote, possibly, hopefully, another Bill Belichick, because he
Yeah.
was
Hopefully.
not good in Cleveland and now has been fantastic in New England. But I
Right.
mean, I know that's a stretch at this point in time. Anyways, let's go to Sunday Night Football, prime time. Denver Broncos hosting, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, here's something I want to bring up real quick. Dang, I should have had this already. I'm sorry, guys. Let me bring this up real quick. We have 9 key injuries. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about preseason because I've already burnt that bridge a long time ago. Injuries are Surtain, Judy, Simmons, Jewell, Miners, Hamler, Dolch, Turner, and Patrick. In 2 games? Guys, how in heaven's name are we even going to sorry, I hit the microphone. How in heaven's name are we even going to be competitive against the 49ers? The only way is our defense. Seriously, at this point, it's the only way.
You're absolutely right, Bill. That's the only thing that's going to keep the Denver Broncos in this game is their defense. The Broncos are going to have to get pretty creative this Sunday night, because if they don't, it's going to be over, and it's going to be over really, really early, because Jimmy Garoppolo, as you see, he came into the game last week after Trey Lance broke his ankle, and it looked like he hadn't missed a beat, quite honestly. And so I think they hung
scary. Scary.
I think they hung up like 21 points since he came up on the field. Garoppolo did since he took over. So yeah, the Denver Broncos, if they don't get creative, they are in a lot of trouble, especially on defense and especially on offense as well. Both sides of the ball. They just need to be creative, because if they don't, it's going to be over quick and early. I mean, that's really the biggest point of this game.
Absolutely. Now, I'm wondering if, and I'm just throwing this out there, just hoping it sticks. Do you think maybe Nathaniel Hackett will, maybe just for this game, because it's prime time and he doesn't want to take any more heat and stuff from the media nationwide, maybe he relinquishes to the offensive coordinator and says, okay, you call the game, because I'm going to let you call the game, and then I'll just handle other aspects.
Right.
That would be smart.
I'd hope so.
I mean, it can't get any worse. How can it get any worse?
Right. I mean, and the cards are already stacked against you going into this week with that many injuries. So, I mean, why not? I mean, what do you have to lose other than the game?
Well, yeah. I heard that before Sunday's game, Denver was favored at home by 2.5 points. That has now shifted. San Francisco's now favored by 1.5.
That's it.
That's what I heard. That's the last I heard.
Man,
it may be more.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more by the time Sunday rolls around and they figure out what that injured list is, because, man, that offense is really, really good. And not to mention the fact that the Niners have they have Nick Bosa, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they got Nick Bosa, and they got a really good star-studded defense as well. So, yeah, I can't see that number staying there. I can only see it increasing on the Niners' favor.
Sure.
Especially
after they won.
After they won and what Jimmy Garoppolo has done for that team.
Yeah. Okay, Jeremy. Final score. And before I get to that, if the Broncos look really bad in the first quarter, are the Bronco fans going to start to not show up? Because that would be a direct message to ownership.
I mean, probably. I mean, I can't lie. I mean, if I know the result of what's going to happen, and it's becoming a habit, then why continue to invest your money?
Yeah, good point.
Why do it?
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see over the head. I don't want to see that.
Well, I don't want to see more visiting fans than I do Broncos fans. That's not going to be cool.
Nope.
But final score, I'm going to say 26-20 San Francisco. I think they're going to win it. Yeah, I think the Broncos put up a little bit more points than 16, points. I think they put up 4 more points, but 26-20, I think San Francisco will win it.
Well,
I hate to say that. I don't want to say that.
I know you don't want to say it.
I can't deny what Jimmy Garoppolo has done with the Niners and how much, considering how many injuries the Broncos have and how uncoordinated they've been. It's just too much going against the Broncos right now at this point in time for me to have any type of I'm on a I'll believe it when I see it type basis with the Broncos right now.
I am going to first off, everybody knows if I cut my wrist, it bleeds orange, not red. So that being said, I'm gonna say this.
Keep in mind too, the Niners will have Kittle back on Sunday night as well. And he's an elite tight end. Yep. Yeah, he's gonna get the Broncos fits. So
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I firmly believe in my gut that the Bronco players did not like hearing those boos. They did not like hearing the clock countdown. They are, if they're not frustrated, they better be focused and pissed off that happened. I think they're going to come together. Oh yeah, I hope so. I think they're going to come together. I'm hoping that Nathaniel Hackett releases the reins on Wilson, lets him be Wilson.
Right.
And the Broncos will come out with a win in this game. Not big, 21-20.
Okay. I mean, I can see that happening too if what you say is going to happen as well. So I can see it as a possibility. I mean, honestly, I can see this game going either way, depending on how the Broncos respond. But I just don't think it's going to be this week. I really don't. I think it's too short of a turnaround. I think, there's too much going against the Broncos right now.
Well, I hope you're wrong in your prediction. I hope I'm right,
I do too.
Regardless of the score. I just hope I'm right. But I know, I guess in my heart, I say 21-20. In my head, I say not again.
Yeah.
So, we'll find out. We've got 5 days? 5 days to find out.
Yep.
5 days at night.
Yeah.
It's prime time. So, that's another thing. It's prime time. And if the Broncos players really, and the coaching staff too, really take it to heart that we are now back in another prime time game, let's not screw this up. Let's show them why we're in prime time. Because I guarantee you, we keep going down this slippery slope, we're not going to have one prime time next year. And I know I'm already fast forwarding, but yeah.
Also, if we do get PS2 and we do get Jerry Jeudy back, that'll be huge. Because I know they're day to day, but they do have very lingering injuries, so it's probably going to be a game time decision for both those guys.
I would imagine, absolutely, absolutely. All right, Jeremy. Once again, it's been great. Really appreciate you being on. We're going to do this again, guys, next Tuesday, and we'll bring you hopefully really good news about the Broncos game 3. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. Also, remember to tune in to the MHRT Network show play-by-play by wrong guy. This guy, Jeremy Case, bringing you play-by-play on Sundays. Every Bronco game, don't miss it. If you can't get to a TV and watch it, he brings it real, and it's great, guys. Don't miss it. Next Tuesday, we'll do this again, guys. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your week, a great weekend, and let's go Broncos. Let's ride. Bye-bye.